Hi guys, welcome back to the New Age Yogi. So I spoke to you guys yesterday about how I was off social media for 2 weeks and I did not really want to, interact with a lot of people, and I was trying to be as much as in the present as possible. So I just really had the chance of going through The Power of Now, which is this book written by Eckhart Tolle, and this is a book that really talks about why it is so important for us to be in the present moment. So it is not the first time that I was reading this book, but I was listening to the audio book, and I have read this book for about 4 to 5 times probably now, including the audiobook that I've heard. But this is because I just feel like any spiritual book that you're reading or anything that you're listening to cannot actually, it's going to make sense to you every 3 months. The sense of it is going to change. So when you read this book after 3 months, probably your reality is going to change, and you're going to take out more things from the same line that you read a few days ago. So this is what a spiritual book does to you. You can derive your own meaning out of it, and today I'm here to review this book for you guys, and whether you should read this book or not. I'm also going to try to talk to you guys about a few snippets from the book, so that we can honestly see what the book is all about. So let's get started. This book is about 192 pages, and you can probably finish this book in a day. You don't really, it's pretty small, like it's not a lot, like the book doesn't have a lot, but honestly understanding this book will take a really long time. Of course, there are parts in the book that say that you have to stop. There are these star marks which are there, and you have to okay, not star, but this thing where you need to stop, you need to pause, and you need to reflect on what you've read. So I would tell you that this is one book where you should take the pauses as and when the book requires you to. When there is a pause, please take a minute, think about what what the book says, think about each and everything, probably go out, have a coffee, do something, and then return to the book. Don't finish this book in a day like a hero and think that you've read the book, because honestly that is not going to do you any good. So the entire book is in a question and answer format. So there are people who are asking Eckhart Tolle questions, and he is answering these questions. So it is like a lot of people keep asking me questions and I reply to them. But honestly, if you want to go into and dig into the deeper questions, you need to read this book, because I'm telling you, like 90% of your questions are going to be answered through this book. There are lots of things that he explores. There's something called psychological time and physical time. There is something called the pain body. He talks about a lot of things, but the essence in the entire book which he has kept is that even when you are thinking about the future, you are thinking about something that will happen, but that will happen later in the now. When you are thinking about the past, you are thinking about something that happened, but at that point it was the now. And so there is nothing more than the now that you have, and there will never be anything more than the now which is there. And to be present here and immersed wholly with the now is what true enlightenment is about. It's about accepting each and every situation that comes in, and just thinking that there is no future, there is no past. What is there is the now. One of the most interesting things that I honestly discovered through this book was the inner body. So Eckhart Tolle talks about the inner body and how one can realize that there is an inner body. And a lot of times when we are waiting in lines, we are stuck in traffic, we honestly get very agitated by this. And so he says that at this point you have to realize that there is an inner body and come back to the present. So there is a little excerpt that I would like to read out for you guys, so that you guys can honestly feel the inner body. So it says Connecting with the Inner Body, page number 93 of the book, and I want you guys to do this exercise. It says, please try it now. You may find it helpful to close your eyes for this practice. Later on, when being in the body has become natural and easy, this will no longer be necessary. Direct your attention into the body. Feel it from within. Is it alive? There is life in your hands, arms, legs and feet, in your abdomen, your chest. Can you feel the subtle energy field that pervades the entire body, gives a vibrant life to every organ and every cell? Can you feel it's simultaneously in all parts of the body as a single field of energy? Keep focusing on the feeling of your inner body for a few moments. Do not start to think about it. Feel it. The more attention you give to it, the clearer and stronger this feeling will become. If you feel as if the cell is becoming more and more alive, and if you have a strong visual sense, you may get an image of your body becoming luminous. Although such an image can help you temporarily, pay more attention to the feeling than to any image that may arise. An image, no matter how beautiful or powerful, is already defined in form. So there is less scope for penetrating more deeply. So this is what he talks about when he says that there is an inner body and you have to come back to this body. There are various other things in this book that I have found, and honestly, if I were to tell you, after reading this book I have become more patient. So when there is a doctor's appointment or I have to do something of this sort, where I know that there's a lot of waiting, I just feel like it's not that big a task. Like, I have that patience, and coming back to that inner body really helps me. So a very big segment of this book is also being dedicated to ego. It talks about how we are identified with the ego and how we can honestly disidentify from that, and that is where all the problems are starting. It also talks about enlightenment. It talks about the pain body. It talks about specifically how you can honestly alter any pain that is happening in you by actually going to the inner body, and you can get rid of the pain, because the pain is also something which is very psychologically created. When Eckhart Tolle honestly got his own enlightenment experience, he did not know what had happened with him. But it was when he visited India and he went and he researched about what had happened, he found out what exactly the immensity of it was. Guys, what happened with Eckhart Tolle was no different from what we talk about when we, the Indian gurus talk about why we need to be in awareness. Now, awareness is the key, and awareness will take you to places so much quicker than any meditation practice does. Any course, a kriya is important, but if you can be aware of what you are doing and where you are, and be situated in the present at any given point of time, and this doesn't really happen very fast. We actually are in our minds most of the time. But guys, if we can be in the present, if we can accept each and every situation without the filter of our mind, without any other filter, it will take you to the path of enlightenment. And this is honestly what is very, very important for us to realize, that awareness is the key. Awareness is what takes us places, and to be aware of what is happening around you, to be aware and not be in the mind thinking about the past or thinking about the future, or doing any of that. Just accepting this moment, because this is all you have, is what is important for us. Being in complete awareness is honestly what is meditation 24/7. If you want to be meditative at any given point of time, just come back to the now. And there are various ways and you can do this. You can probably set reminders on your phone. You can have a tattoo done. You can do anything that gets you back to the present moment. And only when you are back in the present moment and you accept the present moment, the actual crux of any spiritual practice comes out. So what honestly happens is that if you are on the spiritual path, this book will serve as a tool for you to be more in the present moment. It talks about various things, but you honestly have to take from the book what is important for you. When you are practicing yoga, when you are practicing anything, concentrating on the breath is given a lot of emphasis on. They always tell you that you should focus on your breath and that is the most important thing. Well, yes, it is the most important thing because it gets you back to the present. And when you are reading this, you will come across a few exercises, you will come across a few revelations that Eckhart Tolle makes, and this is what is important. But guys, from this book I have really understood how I can come back to the present, how I should come back to the present, and why being in the present is so important, and why there is so much focus and so much emphasis given in the yogic practices on the present moment. Because so if I were to rate this book, I would give it a good 4 out of 5, because this book has really taught me one very important lesson. It also talks about a lot of other things other than awareness, but honestly I have read the sequel to this book, or maybe not the sequel but another book, which is A New Earth, and I love that book. I like that book more than I liked this book, and honestly I would review it if you guys want me to review that. So please leave a comment down below in case you want me to review that book, and I will see you next time, guys. Take care and do read the book. It's going to really help you. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.